Today I'm going to tell you why this setup could be the most important setup you have in your garden to produce food. Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California, and today I'm going to tell you why this could be so important for your garden and why this is going to be really important for my garden. This setup is the Tote system, a little different than what we used to do before. This setup is going to give me all the plant food I need for the entire year. All year. If you can garden all year, you're going to get plant food out of this. You're going to get compost tea out of it. You're going to get worm poo out of it. You're going to get everything. And you know what the best thing is? It's not going to cost you anything. Let me grab the camera and explain what's going on up close so you can see, because I'm so excited about this. I've got a small version on my deck, but this one is going to work perfect for my rainbow garden. And you know what? I can use this all over the garden. So here you see two metal chairs. I got those for $10 at Walmart. You can probably find them at the thrift store cheap. I have seen them there for even $2 and $3. This is holding a large tote. This one is 33 gallons. I left the tag on so you can see it, but you can scale this entire thing down. Now what is set up in here in the red buckets? The red bucket is a 5-gallon bucket, and the smaller bucket on the top, that is a 3-gallon bucket. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to repeat this over because I get a lot of questions. Everything's going to have holes. You always have to have drainage. So every container that goes in here will have some sort of holes to drain. This tote is set up where I can grow in it. And I'll show you in a few minutes exactly what I did. So you will be able to follow it step by step to make one yourself. I can grow in this large 33-gallon tote. As you can see, I planted a pepper and I've got a brassica in there as well. Now the green bucket that's sitting here, you can grow in that too. Right now I just sat a geranium cutting in the pot, but I can actually grow in there, or I can sit a bunch of pots in there just like I did this. Whatever I want to do will work. This setup can be done anywhere. You can put it on a patio, a deck, in your yard. This is going to be your plant food for all your producing produce. Now, as you're growing and your plants are getting bigger and producing, let's say, large zucchini or a lot of tomatoes, they're going to need more nutrients. Even if you fill this tote up with all kinds of matter from the yard and kitchen scraps, they're going to use it. And while they get bigger, they need something else. You're going to need to give them a boost. This is going to give them the boost. And you can make multiple setups if one is not enough. And remember, the greatest thing about this is it's free. The plant food you're producing is free and you'll know exactly what's in it. Now let's explain a little bit more right now. Here what I've done is I have filled this tote up. Let me go and show you for a minute on how I made the drain pipe. This is a drain pipe, and see where it's going? I now have all this. I can use it straight, or I could go ahead and dilute it and use it whatever way I want. I could drain it into a bucket, or I could drain it into a watering can. Any way I want to do it. So let's go look at the clip and you'll see exactly how I set that in. And let me tell you something, I've been doing it with other containers and it works fantastic, even dish pans. Okay, it's going to come out here. This is not that bendable, so we're going to cut it to about here. Now, I want the hose down here. It's going to go in a bucket. I can always cut it later. The main thing is, I'm going to decide where I want it. I'm going to start making the hole probably right in the middle. This has to be done before I set this up to grow in. Perfect. This is all I need. Now I can cut it later or whatever, but this is going to drain out the water. And I can seal it up a little bit more on both sides. Push it all the way through the hole. Now, I don't care if it leaks a little. It doesn't matter. And we'll do on the inside too. Now it's going to come through this. Now we have to protect this. I'll show you soon how we're going to protect it. This is not going anywhere. I can cut it later and set it up a little differently. Right now, I can push it in a little bit more. This is really good. And this will have a bucket underneath here to catch it. And I'm going to catch all this because this is going to be very, very important to me. Now what we're going to do is tool. Tool is going to go here so no dirt or anything goes through. So now you saw exactly how I set that up with the pipe. These are the irrigation pipes that I am using all over the yard now for trellising, all kinds of things, corners for my tomato stakes, and even just plain old branches off of trees. That irrigation pipe is like my number 2 favorite thing next to tool. Now let's step back and let's see exactly how I filled this tote up. I'm taking that old tool and I'm pushing it underneath the tubing and around the tubing, but I'm not blocking the tubing with the tool. I'm just pushing it around there to keep any debris or leaves or matter from blocking my drainage hole. Now it's just a matter of filling it up. Now every tote I make is going to be a little different. It's whatever I've got. I had an old squash, I've got stuff from the garden. Now this is the bucket that's going to be in there. It's going to be your compost bucket. Notice I put holes about 1 inch up all the way around. You can put holes on the bottom too, but this is going to give the opportunity for the worms to go in and out of the bucket. So make those holes pretty big and then continue to fill your bucket. I just want you to see the compost bucket that's going in there, the red one. It's a 5-gallon bucket. So I just fill it from whatever I've got in the garden. I had old weeds, I had brassicas from different plants. Now you want to make a platform for your bucket, your compost bucket that's going in there. Look at all the compost I have, kitchen scraps around the yard that rotted away. Perfect. The microbes already started on it and it was perfect to put in there. Then I've got the toilet paper rolls and my veggie rolls and everything went in there. Just kept adding in matter. This saves me on soil because a bag of soil can be anywhere from $20 to $50. Now you start putting in your soil once you have enough matter in there. This is the way I do it. You can use all potting mix if you want. That is up to you. But you kind of make that snug around the bucket. As everything settles, it will be perfect and it will settle in perfect and hold the bucket. And you're set up. That's all there is to it. So there it is. I can build a little bit more before I decide what I'm going to plant in here. I might just put something in a flower pot. This is going to be a full compost bucket. Kitchen scraps are going to start going in there and everything. What's going to go in after that is this bucket with holes. There are holes on the bottom, and this is going to go in there like this. This can have a plant. This can have anything I want, but this inside here is going to be a compost bin. Now, once there's a plant growing in here, when I water it, it's going to water the whole container. This is going to have worms in here, and then it's going to come through the hose. And I'm going to use whatever water's in here to water all my plants. But that's how simple this is. The hose just helps me direct it to where I want, but I could have simply just done a hole and put it underneath where the water was coming out too. So now you see how I set it up. This is a lifesaver when it comes to the garden. When your plants are growing and they're full of tomatoes, they're full of peppers, or full of squash, the point is it needs something and you're going to give it to it. Because what you're going to do in the red bucket is you're going to continue to add in there. You can clean up your yard once a week, every day, whatever you want, and you're going to load everything in the red bucket. This you're going to grow in. Now you could, if you want, just put a lid on top. That's fine too, and keep it covered so no critters get in here. But right now, I'm not going to have any tree roots. I'm not going to have anything. Now I will say, if you look underneath, you see a pile of dirt, and they're saying, why didn't you clean up the dirt? Because I have a pair of rabbits that are living under my potato mint. They're actually there right now. They live there. So I've decided to leave their hole. They're not going to bother it. They can't get in. So let them hop around and look around and do what they do. They found the safe place away from the hawks and coyotes and everything. So I've left it. But for now, this is just going to be fantastic. Let them kick their dirt around. I'm going to continue to add to the red bucket. Now, I did find some earthworms around here when I was moving things around, so I threw literally like 5 or 10 earthworms in there. If you can find some earthworms, you can just lift up a pot almost anywhere that it's damp. You lift something up and you will see right underneath, if it's sitting on the ground, there's usually earthworms. And if there's not, but it's really damp and you might see other little critters, grab them and throw them in because there's probably eggs. This setup is going to be a lifesaver for my whole rainbow garden because it's going to give the plants their boost that they need. Let me show you real quick how this works. Now here I just sat this on there. You can do what you want, and I have found that when you've got a tote set up, it is fantastic for starting cuttings. But you'll see here, this lifts up. And you can make it as light or as heavy as you want. Now this is a compost bucket. This is inside there. So now you're going to have earthworms and everything wanting to be in there. That's where they're going to want to be. Now, yes, right now there's a lot of leaf matter in here and kitchen scraps. They're going to be all over. But this is where they're going to gravitate. Now, this is where you can throw in all kinds of stuff in here. You don't have to overload it. Put some leaves in there, your kitchen scraps, eggshells, everything you would put in a regular compost bin. Then what you do is water this. You don't water this, you water this. This has got holes underneath. This is going to leach into the red bucket, and the red bucket's got holes all over. That's going to leach in here, and then it's going to come out the bottom. And out the bottom is your plant food. That's gold for your plants. Your plants are going to absolutely love it. Now, of course, you can make a small scale. The same thing. You can use smaller buckets. You can use flower pots. You can do it whatever way you want on a small scale. This one I wanted pretty big. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, so I threw some plants in here for now. But this setup is going to be a lifesaver for me, and it's going to save me money. I don't have to buy any plant food. I'm making my own plant food, Mother Nature's plant food. So let's recap everything. You need a tote. You need a pipe if you want to direct the water out. You can make holes, and you can catch it in a simple bucket and then do what you want with it. But if you want, get some irrigation pipe. It is so cheap. You can get like 25 feet to 50 feet for 10 bucks, and it's going to last you a long time. Then you need either 2 buckets or flower pots. Holes in both. Doesn't really matter where you put the holes, but I've got the holes on the bottom of the green and all over the sides of the red. So this way I know the earthworms can go in and out, because they're going to travel inside the tote and they're going to go back to the red bucket. They just travel. That's what they do. And you want to keep them happy that they don't leave. And then, of course, you saw how I filled it. All kinds of matter. It's never going to be the same because I never have the same stuff. I may have papayas to throw in here. I may have old squash. I may have pine cones I want to throw in here. Leaves, different leaves from different trees, different times of the year, grass clippings, whatever. It's going to be different, but it doesn't matter because the microbes are eating that and they're going to break down. It's the broken down matter that the plants want. That's why it's not that important. Though I love my brassicas, they seem to break down the best. That's all you need to do. And then that's it. On the top, I put a good layer of good potting soil. If you got junk potting soil, you bought something and you thought, this is no good, I did have some this year, I put that on the bottom. Not on the very bottom, but on the top of the leaves. I always start with branches and leaves and put that in there, and then I start building from there with the better stuff on the top. But by the time they set their roots down to the bottom, oh, that's going to be really good too. And as you saw, I put tulle around the tubing. Now you can do that too with drain holes. What it does is it prevents blockage. Think of your plumbing pipes. Things get blocked in there, you got to call the plumber and he's got to snake it out. Well, the thing is with this, you won't have to worry about it because water will go through tulle. It's a netting. You know I love my tulle, but I use the old tulle that I used in the garden last year or the year before. Bunch that up, and this way no wood chips, no leaf matter, none of this will get into your holes or your pipe, and it will be free draining that way. It works fantastic. So I hope I've given you an idea how to do something on the free that's going to have you produce beautiful fruits and vegetables in your yard. And of course, you can use it for flowers too. With that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. Oh, I so love this setup.